Have you been wishing to move to Florida and you're just not sure if you can actually do it? Like, it sounds really great. White sandy beaches, beautiful warm blue water, but can you actually afford to live here? Is your dream of moving to Florida a potential reality? Well, stick around because I am going to break down how the Pensacola, Florida area kind of pairs up to other parts of the country as well as other parts of the state. And let's see if maybe making your Florida dreams a reality is actually doable. So obviously every market's very different. I've just got a couple of major areas that I wanted to compare to Pensacola so you can kind of get an idea of cost of living, and hopefully if you're around some of these areas, then you kind of know how your local area compares to these other areas that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to be looking down a lot in these videos because there's a lot of numbers today to go over and I cannot remember all of that. So we have a lot of people moving to Florida from California right now. So two areas in California that I wanted to kind of compare for you guys were the LA area and the San Diego area. So and they're similar in cost of living, these two areas, but in San Diego, Pensacola overall is about 33% lower. The cost of living is 33% lower, and the housing market is 57% lower. So I got all these stats from nerdwallet.com. You can do your own research on that, but a two-bedroom apartment in San Diego does cost you around $3,000 a month. That same house or that same type of apartment in Pensacola is going to only cost you about $1,500 a month. And then if you wanted to buy just a basic, I shouldn't say basic, but these are all average prices, of course. But a three-bedroom house on average in San Diego does run 1.1 million. So, and our average house in Pensacola, that's a three-bedroom, two-bath, is going to cost you about $487,000. So significantly different. LA's got similar numbers. So Los Angeles overall, Pensacola is going to be about $36,000 less, or I'm sorry, 36% less to live here in Pensacola than it costs you to live in the LA area. So, and the housing market is 62% less, so way more affordable. You're going to cut your, housing budget in more than half. So these are similar stats to San Diego. A two-bedroom apartment is a little over $3,000 in San Diego, whereas in Pensacola it's $1,500. And your average three-bedroom house is, or the average price is $1.2 million in LA. And here again in Pensacola we're at $487,000. Another area that, to give you guys some comparison, is Chicago. So Chicago, not as expensive as California, of course, but overall, Pensacola is about 17% lower in cost of living, and the housing market is 38% lower. So your average three-bedroom house in Chicago to purchase is about $621,000, and again, Pensacola, $487,000. Rental is about $3,000 as well in Chicago for a two-bedroom apartment. In Pensacola, you're looking more at $1,500. Also, we have New York. So if you're coming from the New York area or the Northeast at all, you're going to kind of see your cost of living go down by about 36%. So a two-bedroom apartment in New York is around $3,800 a month. Again, Pensacola is only $1,500 a month. And then if you are looking to purchase a home in New York, your average cost for a three-bedroom house is $1.4 million. And in Pensacola, our average purchase price is $487,000 for a three-bedroom house. So big significant differences from other parts of the country here in Florida. Another great thing about Florida, if you're moving from another part of the country, is we don't have state income tax. We also don't have grocery taxes. So that does help you save on your day-to-day. Also, if you are a veteran, if you're a 100% VA disabled veteran, you do get 100% property tax exemption. So that could save you even potentially more on your monthly payments or your yearly costs if you're paying cash for a house. So big savings eligible there if you're coming from another state that doesn't offer those same kind of exemptions and incentives within the state. So now let's kind of compare other parts of Florida, right? Because I mean, Florida's like a big area, a big state. Where within Florida do you want to go? And is Pensacola the place you want to be? Is it the most affordable? So to compare a few places, Miami, so anywhere kind of in that South Florida area, it is going to be cheaper in Pensacola. You're looking at about the housing market is 43% lower here in Pensacola versus Miami. So two-bedroom apartment, you're looking at $3,500 a month in rental on average. In Pensacola, again, $1,500. Miami is a little bit more affordable than other states that we have talked about. However, the average purchase price for a three-bedroom house is $700,000, whereas in Pensacola, you're looking at $487,000. So again, you got some savings going on here versus Miami. Another place where it is going to be more expensive to live in Florida is going to be Fort Lauderdale area. So Pensacola is overall about 22% lower cost of living than Fort Lauderdale, and the housing market is 49% lower here in Pensacola. So your average house, three-bedroom house, that average purchase price is $935,000, whereas in Pensacola we're at $487,000. So that's more than half. You're saving more, around half there. And for a 2-bedroom apartment, you're looking at rent, it's still gonna be around that $3,000 mark in Fort Lauderdale. Pensacola, your average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is only $1,500. Now there are some areas where Pensacola is about the same cost of living. So one of those areas is Tampa. Tampa, Florida and Pensacola have about the same cost of living. There's no real difference between our housing market and everything else versus theirs. So that would just be a preference on where you wanted to be and what you wanted to be close to. Now, an area that is going to actually be cheaper than Pensacola is going to be the Orlando area. Orlando is great if you love the theme parks. So there, Pensacola is actually about 15% higher in the housing market cost of living than Orlando is. So in Orlando, you can get a 2-bedroom apartment for about $1,400 a month on average, and Pensacola is $1,500 a month. And then if you're looking to purchase a 3-bedroom house in Orlando, that price is going to run you around $399,000 on average, whereas Pensacola, we're looking at $487,000. So it's really about where you want to be and what you're looking for. But if you've been dreaming of moving to Florida in general, I hope that this video gave you some insight. Or if you're in one part of Florida and maybe looking to come up to the Panhandle to get away from that central Florida kind of congestion and traffic, then I hope this gave you an idea of what you could afford and if it's actually doable or not. And if you have more questions about coming to the Pensacola area and you want a local guide, I am here for you whenever you need me. So please reach out anytime, and I would be happy to help you make this transition to Florida or to the Pensacola area as smooth as it possibly can be.